for agreeing to this interview. Really excited to be chatting about collaboration. Now, you are the joint venture partner manager for Product Launch Formula. So just tell us about that. For those who don't know what a manager of joint venture partnerships would do, just give us a little bit of a rundown about that.
Sure. So we sell programs online. We also do coaching. We have mastermind groups, and really all of our sales, for the most part, take place online. Our product is delivered online, and in the teaching online business, its brand's been around for many years. Product Launch Formula as a product's been around for 12 years. And I've been working with Jeff and Product Launch Formula now for over 10 years. And so my primary role is really to work with our partners that help promote Product Launch Formula out to their communities, whether it's their email list and their social media. It might be that they have membership groups, etc. So I work with all of our partners to help them spread the word of PLF to their community.
Now that's kind of a new concept in Australia, the idea of promoting someone else's business. And there's kind of a little bit of I know when I first started promoting other people's businesses through that sort of affiliate partnership last year, there was a certain degree of market education. And in Australia, there is a kind of a spammy kind of thing attached to that. But it's the way that business is done, isn't it, over in the States in particular?
It is. We've been doing it for many years. It's hard to explain just how powerful and how much impact you can have when you can engage other people to help support and promote and spread the word about your service or product. It's really, if you think about it, like let's say you have a product or a business and you want to grow it. I mean, what are the ways you're going to do that? You can certainly spend more money on advertising. You can put up more content and hope to get more people to your webpage. You can go crazy with social media. You can buy traffic. You can buy advertising. But at the end of the day, one of the primary ways to scale is to just find other influencers and other people in your market that can help you spread the word. It's the only way you're going to scale at an exponential rate. Because if you have a list, let's say you have an email list of 1,000 or even 10,000 people, and you might have a social media reach of tens of thousands even. If you can multiply that and work with other partners that have similar reach, your ability, I mean, you can multiply your reach so much faster and easier. And there's usually, speaking about the spam part of it, I guess in some markets, people look at it when you talk favorably about another person or product or service, and they feel like you're pushing it on them. I could see where people could interpret that as spam. But if you have a relationship with somebody, and you know about the product or service that they provide, or you have firsthand experience putting that in place, and it's a right fit for your audience, then I think it makes sense to help them spread the word. Because if they're doing something that's had an impact and a transformation on your business, then why not share that with your market if you feel like they can get the same results and have the same transformation?
I mean, it's kind of like the ultimate in referral marketing, isn't it? But on a bigger scale. You go to a movie and the movie's great, so you tell a friend about the movie. Well, you've tried a product. I've been a referral partner for a Product Launch Formula. I've tried it. I loved it. It was transformational in my life and my business. So of course I want to share that. And so that ultimately is what joint venture partnerships are about, is that instead of you going seeing a movie and referring it, you've tried a product or service, you build a relationship with someone, you love that product or service, and so you want to tell everybody about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really the same. I mean, if you look at it, and more, the world is turning towards the availability of seeing reviews, of seeing people share their experiences, of talking about what's worked for them. I mean, it's is a term we call social proof, right? When you are looking for a restaurant, or you're looking to go to a movie, or you're shopping for something, where do you turn? You might turn to Amazon for reviews, right? And you might go to a site like Yelp to look at what the restaurants, or what people are saying about a restaurant you're thinking about, or searching for one nearby. It's a form of referral marketing. The primary difference is that there's usually some type of relationship in between us and the people that promote for Product Launch Formula. If you look at if you look at your example, you came in as an owner of Product Launch Formula, and you got it, you put it in practice, you had results, you were able to apply it, and after that, you decided to share it with your community and your audience.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I shared to my tribe that I was going to be doing this interview with you, and I called for questions from them, and I've got some cool questions came in. And because it is quite new here in Australia, there were some questions around how do you choose who to collaborate with?
Right.
Can you walk us through that?
So there's a couple ways of looking at it. As as somebody who might have a network and audience, we all have some level of network or audience in the area that we're working in or have an interest in or expertise in. So there's, looking at it from that perspective. And then there's also, as somebody who has a product or program or service and you're looking to get help with people sharing it. There's really two ways to look at it. So from the first perspective, if you have an audience, you have some expertise, and you're looking to possibly recommend a program or product or service, somebody to your market, I think it's, first and foremost, you should know something about the person that you're looking to promote. You should have some type of relationship with them. Ideally, you've met them in person. Doesn't mean you have to, but you should have a level of trust that comes from what you've experienced, from other people you've talked to, and hopefully you've utilized their product or service and have firsthand experience with it, or know people that have and really are able to get a close idea of what they've seen and what kind of experience they've had.
And then sorry, John.
I was going to say, the other close thing to look at is that, as soon as you start recommending somebody, it's just like recommending something to a friend, right? You're now placing your association and reputation in concert with the person you're recommending. So you have to think about who you want to be associated with, right? And does their not just their product or service, but does their brand and the person, do you want to be held in the same association with them, right? Do their values reflect your values to a certain extent?
Yeah. And then and I think, that is really important, because when you're putting that product out there, it is your credibility and integrity on the line. Mm-hmm. And I think that causes a pause for some people in promoting other people's products, but it's not a numbers game, is it? It's a quality game. It's about having those quality relationships. And also a term that I've heard yourself and Jeff use is the peanut butter and jelly. You're looking for a product that's also complementary to what you have, that your whole database or your whole tribe is going to benefit from.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it has to be a right fit, right? So if your market is accountants, and, it may or may not be a great fit for you to recommend a program such as Product Launch Formula that's about marketing your business online. Now, it's not that accountants couldn't use it. In fact, we know some accountants.
I know an accountant who's done very well with products.
We know some accountants that have had success. It depends on their business, right? If they're a very, what most people consider a typical accountant, where they do tax preparation, they work with clients in their local community, there's some elements of Product Launch Formula that they could benefit from if they apply it across their business. They're probably not going to do a big launch for their accounting service, because most people need them at tax time. And then they don't need them a lot after that, but they might have, it depends. They might put some kind of specific offer together. But there has to be a match between what the needs are of your market and what the program or product or service or person can deliver, right? What value and transformation can they provide to get your audience results?
And you were also saying before we started to come on, we were just chatting briefly before I started recording, and you were talking about this concept of collaboration. It seems kind of crazy to you because you guys have been doing it for such a long time, and it's like some people are just kind of catching up that this is how business is done. Tell us about that.
Well, it is. I can remember. So I had an online business in one form or another. Gosh, now almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years. But full time in it for over 10 years, and I can remember, working in offline businesses and then making the transition into the online world, and just seeing how things were so different. How in the offline world everything was competitive. You're always after your competitor. You're fighting and scratching with them. If there was anyone in a similar type business, you always looked at it as your competition. And if they're selling a program or product or service that's just like yours, then yeah, you're going to see them as competition. But in the online space, when there's related types of programs and products or services, again, that your market can benefit from, that they can get a result in transformation that's helpful, then it makes sense to share it and to be collaborative in that model. Yeah, it's just a totally different way to look at it, and I know it's many of the people in the online space do look at it that way, that there's more to be gained from collaboration than competition.
Yeah.
Again, there can be markets there where people are directly selling the exact same thing, right? So there's going to be a little competition there, but you always look for those tangential products and services that, again, as long as you're focused on fulfilling the needs of the market you serve and helping them get results to move forward in whatever you do, then that's where you should be looking for that collaboration to provide those resources.
Yeah. Now, joint venture partnerships, I mean, they're collaborating with industry leaders in your space all around the world. That forms a lion's share of sales for Product Launch Formula's main launch for the year, doesn't it? I mean, it's a significant asset to the business.
Yeah, it is. It's been really, it's been over the years, it's been our primary traffic source. It's not been uncommon for us to add to our database, significantly 30, 40, even 50,000 email addresses to a list over the course of just a couple weeks with a launch. It sounds crazy, and it takes a while to get to that level of support, but when you have something that's been proven to provide results for people and for your partners, then that's what's possible. Again, that's the kind of scale that's possible. Now, we've tried, as the business has matured, we look at traffic as three legs of a stool, right? With the partner traffic being one of them, and then having organic traffic and also paid traffic. And so we've tried to balance that out a little bit. I think it's just smart business. The business has grown and it's gotten a little more sophisticated. So we have more resources to put into growing all of our areas. But historically, our partner traffic has been where we really get a surge of amazing traffic and results.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, off the top of your head, the difference in conversions between the three legs of that stool, organic versus paid versus partner. Mm-hmm. Do you know what those figures are in terms of conversions of leads?
I don't. I have some idea. In general, the partner traffic has actually been some of our strongest converting, and one of the reasons is that so there's different types of traffic, right? There's traffic that you own, and there's traffic that you kind of control, and traffic that you direct. So for our email address, people are already on our email address. We own that traffic, right? And to a certain extent, the partner traffic, we control a little bit more because we're giving them places to send their people to. We don't 100% control it, but once they send it to us, we control it. And then there's the traffic we direct, which is really the paid traffic more so. And that traffic is coming in. They don't necessarily know us. They're coming in from an advertisement. They may or may not even be searching for a solution or what we provide. So when you look at those different elements and types of traffic, the partner traffic is warm traffic, right? It comes pre-framed to us as a recommended resource from somebody else who has that relationship with the audience, with the viewer.
Yeah, it has that social proofing, so it makes it easier because you've already cut down a little bit of a barrier.
Exactly. Yeah, they've pre-framed it, and they don't necessarily have to pre-sell everything about it, but they have to pre-sell the concept or their experience with it, or why somebody should come in and at least look at what we have, right? So they come in with just maybe their perspective is a little different, maybe a little less guarded. Maybe they're looking for value because it's been told to them, hey, here's something you should check out from what they trust, the trusted resource to them, right? So those conversions tend to do better than, say, what we call cold traffic, which comes from paid traffic, paid media. Paid media, they don't necessarily know us. They just stumbled across an ad that looked enticing. They clicked on that ad. They ended up typically on some type of an opt-in or a landing page for some kind of offer that we made. And they made a decision at that point. Yes, I want to join that. So the opt-ins tend to be lower, and the conversions from those opt-ins tend to be lower.
From the colder traffic, yeah. And how long has affiliate partnerships or joint venture partnerships been a part of the PLF, the product launch formula in terms of your launches?
Since 2005.
Yeah, and how's it changed over that time, John?
Well, that's interesting. I think it's probably gotten a little more organized, I'll say. And part of that's been sophistication in the market. Things have just gotten more specialized, right? And now there are people that are effective at buying traffic and sending traffic to partners, with the right messaging. And there are people that are in, I guess, different people are more specialized in the markets that they represent, that are tangential to what we teach, right? So maybe in that case, how PLF applies to those other markets that somebody has expertise in, that they're sharing PLF as a resource, is a little more specific. And so they can tell a more detailed story of how PLF is a fit. If you are this type of person, this is why PLF is a fit for you, or how it might work, or how it's worked for that person who has that relationship with that market. It's also just gotten more coordinated as I think, certainly for the PLF business, as it's matured and gotten larger, there's more things going on in the business, and consequently, things are planned out further in advance. We're now talking about our launches a year in advance. And that used to be, 3 months in advance. And so our partners are doing the same thing. They're all now talking about, they're now talking about what's happening next year, or 6 months or a year from now. And so I think there's just been a lot more planning and organizing promotions further in advance. And it used to be kind of on the fly. It's like reaching out to somebody kind of last minute. And, that it doesn't work for us, because our calendar to promote for our own internal stuff and for other potential partners is now set months in advance.
Well, I think also the key thing about promoting another business or product is that your list needs to get to know them. So if it happens at that last minute, there isn't that opportunity to build that relationship.
Yes.
Because it all does come down to those relationships. And I'm very keen to have a chat to you in a moment about where you see collaboration going. But before we move on, I just want to ask you a couple more questions about the number of joint venture partnerships. I imagine that when you guys first started doing it back in 2005, there wasn't as much noise on the market as there would be now. There seem to be a lot more people promoting other people's products and services than there would have been. Would that be fair to say?
It's interesting. I think it is. It's in a way yes, in a way no. I guess it feels, again, where it's gotten more scheduled and organized, it doesn't feel as chaotic, at least to me. Like, we know what's happening next month and the month after that and the month after that. And so it feels, even though I think the quantity is there, we're not evaluating 3 different potential launches for next month because we already know what we're going to be doing. So maybe maybe we're a little bit immune to it because there's not as much distraction. I'm sure there is. And the other thing is that there's much more specialization. So, people who teach about specific things, they may be looking for very specific resources related to their specific area of teaching. Mm-hmm. And so I may not, there may be nothing, like somebody who, for example, teaches about e-commerce, they may not see product launch formula as a great fit for their market, as a resource, even though we know a lot of people who use PLF for e-commerce and have great success with it. But somebody who's very specific teaching about e-commerce may be looking for other resources that are more defined in what they see as a right fit for their market. So I think part of it's the specialization. It feels like there's less clutter because people are off in markets that we don't see or pay attention to as much, or they don't look to promote us to their market because they're in a very specialized area. But I think a lot of it is just the coordination is further out now. So again, I feel like there is more happening, but it's less chaotic.
And more sophisticated.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on, there's been this sort of phrase bandied around that, if you don't collaborate, you'll become irrelevant. And there are more and more players in the online market. There's more and more businesses coming out every day.
Sure.
What would you say to the micro business owner or solo entrepreneur who's not collaborating? Do you think that is risky? Do you think that is a vulnerability in their business, that they should relook at that?
Well, I do. In general, I do, because there's different ways to collaborate. So it's not always just about promoting somebody else or having somebody promote you. There's other ways to collaborate. It could be on a content scenario. It could be for an exchange of best practices. It could be resources. There's a lot of different ways to collaborate. And so, you want to be looking across all those areas to collaborate with other people that are in related markets to you. And to me, that's kind of like how business is done, at least for us and in the online space. And I have seen people who have been, say, successful with creating a nice sized email list and going about just kind of doing their own promotions or sort of sticking in their little place. Meaning they kind of do their own thing. They don't really promote for other people don't promote for them. And that works for them. But if things change, if their market changes slightly, they can kind of lose touch a little bit because they're not collaborating, they're not staying up to speed with what else is happening in their marketplace because they're not working closely with their peers to find out what different tweaks and things that how they can go about communicating and changing.
Yeah. Plus, it's a lag time, isn't there? I mean, if you want to do it properly, if you want to collaborate with someone properly, it's not just a case of here, let me promote your list, or here will you promote my list. There's time that's taken to build a true relationship on both parties. So if you are working in a microcosm in isolation, the market changes or something happens in your business. to then go, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to get some JV partners now and I'm going to grow my list by 30,000 in the next 2 weeks. It just doesn't happen like that, does it? It takes time to build those relationships.
Right. Yeah. They're one-offs, right? Every relationship is unique and they're at different levels. And then it takes time to not only get the result, not only get the relationship, but also then to figure out how you can work together and come to a mutual understanding of what's best, and that there's a right fit or there isn't a fit, and then actually gets results that, you know, means you now have a different relationship going forward. So it does take a while. And again, I've seen people who have gone into that, I call it putting themselves on an island, right? Where they've got this, they're sort of insulated. They feel like they got this great thing going. They put themselves in the island, they lose touch. Something changes, and then it's hard. And I've seen this happen like several times over the years. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I better get back. I better get off this island. And it takes a while for them to get reestablished or reconnected. Even when they've had a prominent place in the marketplace in the past, if they jump out on their own, it takes a while to come back.
So just on that note, and then I'm going to put to you about where the market's, where it's going to be going. For someone watching this who realizes that they're an island, I mean, I just can't thank you enough for doing this interview. I mean, you are just a guru when it comes to joint venture partnerships. So I feel very excited that, you know, my tribe are going to get to benefit from your skills. What would be, and I'm going to use those skills, what would be your advice if someone watching this realize I'm an island, I want to get started with JV partnerships? What's the first thing they should do, John?
I think the first thing they should do is figure out who they want to either build new relationships with or rekindle old relationships with. You know, make a list, be very intentional about it, and start reaching out and offering to help other people. That's really, you know, that's the best way to establish new relationships, is to provide value and help other people. So it's the best way to find new potential partners. It's the best way to rekindle past relationships and just say, hey, I'm, you know, love to touch base with you. Can we connect? And then just, you know, build a relationship again from there, or find a new person that really resonates with you. And then just go about making the connection, just like you would with any relationship. It just starts by getting to know somebody, offering to help, adding some value to them, and then figuring out ways you can work together to help each other.
Awesome, thank you. You're coming to launch in just a couple of weeks. Your main launch for the year. Tell us about the planning and the preparation that's gone into that, and how many JV partners do you have coming on board?
Sure. Well, as I mentioned, you know, we plan the dates very far in advance, and mostly that's for our partners' benefit, so that they can mark it on their calendar, know when it's coming up, and hopefully both internally for their promotions. I mean, it's a couple of things. One is that the market, then the people in our market know when we're doing it, so that other people aren't planning promotions at the same time. Because the worst thing that would happen or could happen is that, you know, somebody we're competing for partners, right? So it's almost like at the level we're playing at, the competition isn't as much for prospects and buyers, it's more for the partners, right? Are the partners available, or is there conflicts? Because when there's conflicts, you know, then we both lose, right? If somebody else is promoting and doing a launch at the same time and they have same partners, it's not going to go well for either one of us. So we try and cast that out very far in advance. From an execution standpoint, our team, you know, we've done a lot of launches. We've had 12 launches that have done over $1 million. Several of them done multi-million dollar launches. So, you know, number 13, you know, it feels like we're headed for a number 13. We expect that. That's just, we're always trying to achieve higher and better results for our team, for our partners. And I think we get great support from our partners, because we do put out tremendous value to the market in all of our content, regardless of whether somebody buys or not. They end up they end up in a better place when they've consumed the material and the content that we give out in our product launch formula workshop. So when people just, and that's really, that should be a goal that everyone has, is that when somebody, if a partner is going to send you traffic, you should take great care of them, and they should be better off as a result of having gone through your content, even if they didn't buy, right? So yeah, otherwise, I mean, we're always looking at what have we done before, how can we do it better, what tweaks do we need to make, how can we change the sequence, what's the market look like now, is there things different? And then we go through the product as well, and we look at from a implementation standpoint. Is there things that we can add? Are there things that we've done over the last year that we've learned from that we can teach from?
What would you say would be the two biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they launch into the joint venture process?
So I'll speak from if you're the publisher of a product or program perspective, because this is where I see most of the mistakes. First is thinking that you're going to come into the market and just find partners immediately that are excited about promoting for you. It's in reality, most people are not thinking about your business or your product or your service. They're thinking about what do they have to do to sell more of their stuff and to move their business ahead. So whenever you enter those conversations, again, start with the relationship first. Just try and build a personal relationship that helps the other person, that adds some value, that gives them some insight. There's probably something you know about your business, or that you can maybe see a perspective on their business that they don't see. And you know, some people are hesitant to speak up and say, but I mean, if you just say, hey, look, this is kind of just what I see. It may or may not be right, but this is just my perspective. I'd be happy to share with it if you'd like. Most people are open to that. And if they don't agree, then they'll either ignore it or not listen to you or tell you you're wrong. But it doesn't hurt. It extends value to them, and then it's just a matter of whether value is perceived or received. So that would be the first one. The second one is asking people to support you with promoting or sharing to your audience before you've shown that you have something that really provides results for somebody, that creates results and transformation in somebody else's life, and that you've understand how that would be a benefit for that person to share it with their audience. Think through that, and what would that be? And you know, make it as concrete as can be. And ideally, you've also got some results that whatever you provide and the offer that you put out to the market is something the market wants. Meaning, if they're going to share it, there's going to be an opportunity cost to them. And usually that equates to dollars and cents. And so if they're going to share it and there's a possibility for them to earn an incentive or not, obviously they'd like to, otherwise they could share something else or produce some other content for their audience. So put something out there that you know is going to provide value and results, but also for the person that you're asking to promote. How does it fit with their market, and how does it fit into their business, and why would they want to be associated with you and the product or the service you have?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, you want that product to be tested, don't you? And you want to be able to go promoting for you and say, these are the conversions. This is the opt-in rate for my landing page. This is the conversion to sale, so that they can for the product. Would that be fair to say? Yeah, certainly. Especially, you know, there's some markets where there isn't that level of sophistication. Like, people don't talk in those terms, and they're just like, hey, I just want to know you got something that's good, that can help people, and they're happy to share it. They don't really even care about the incentive. In more sophisticated markets, yeah, they want to know, what are your numbers for conversion? What do you know? What happened on your last promotion or launch, and what other partners have gotten what results? Because again, it's like, if they have a list of 10,000 people and they have an opportunity and choice between
sending two different things to them, they're going to want to send the thing that provides the most value and also provides them the most return on that opportunity. So yeah, in certain markets, you've got to know your numbers. You got to be really up to speed and be able to talk the right language. It's usually as you go up, as you escalate in the size of the person or the potential partner that you're speaking in, they're going to be more acutely aware of what the metrics are in the business that they're looking for if they're going to promote for somebody.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to thank you so much for your time. We're coming into a launch for you. It is,
Yes.
I wish you all the best in that launch. Of course, I'm very blessed to be a partner and very happily promote it because, you know, the product is fantastic and the product does change lives. And that's the key thing about, you know, when you put your name on the line to support and endorse someone, and that's what it comes down to.
Yes.
So I'm hoping this is going to be a rip-roaring, snorting launch for you, John, and wish you all the very best. And I can't thank you enough for your time. I look forward to hearing the results too. So we might even, if you've got time, we might even swing by after post-launch and, you know, see how it all went, see what went well, what you could have done better, and how awesome Source actually was. How's that sound?
Yeah. It's always an exciting time. And for me, it is, you know, like if I was the accountant, this is kind of like tax time for me, right? This is when I work the hardest with our partners, and I'm in the most connection with them and the most communication. And the awesome thing is that, number one, that our partners are amazing. They have success sharing PLF, partly because of what we provide, but also because of the relationships and the quality of what they put out to their market. And it's people that I know personally, so I enjoy that aspect. It's rewarding to me to be able to help other people spread the message of PLF and share it with their audience and do it in a way that they feel good about and that is strategic and provides results for them and for their market. So it's a busy time. It's a crazy busy time. It's a concentrated effort when you do the launch. It's a bit of a buzzsaw. You know, you start losing focus and track on what day it is. And you get caught up in it. And that's part of the effectiveness. You know, we use the phrase, turn your marketing into an event. And that's partly why the launch is so successful. And it's a big event for us and a big event for our partners. And I'm just blessed I get to work with such amazing people. And, you know, that's my job, so to speak.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I can certainly say, you know, for those of you who haven't been in a partnership arrangement before, when you are one of the partners promoting, you certainly don't feel like an island. It actually feels like a basketball game, you know, and you're all team members, all trying to shoot another goal, and it's really cool. Really, and I think that's also really important too, because as entrepreneurs, we tend to work alone or from home and isolated. And so when you collaborate, you also get that camaraderie and that team spirit that you don't get outside of that office space often. So yeah, it's very
cool. Yeah, it is. I think that's great. It's a bit like a big basketball game or a football game where you're cheering. I can remember this has happened in several launches. And like, for example, when we did the launch book, and, you know, it was a big goal for the partners to support and share that, because, you know, it was a whole new thing that they could share with their market and share with their audience. And, you know, when we were trying to get on the bestseller list, you know, it was like, yeah, we got to do it. We got to push hard. And we did. We went back to our partners and said, look, we have a chance to really make this a big thing, you know. And
so I'm just going to ask you that. Was it a partner launch that got Jeff's product launch formula book as a New York Times #1 bestseller?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow. So how many authors will be watching?
No, it was a well-engineered, like all of our launches, it was a well-engineered sequence and promotion. And again, we did go out and we had a tremendous promotion. In fact, you know, it was, for perspective for everyone, we put the book on the New York Times bestseller list. And we did that not through a big media blitz. I know you're a PR person, right? So I don't want to shoot you down on this. I just want to give people an understanding. We were able to do it through our list and through our partners list. it was the platform. But we have a big platform built, but you don't build that big platform overnight. You do have to get the exposure. You do have to get publicity. You do have to become a more well-known name. But yes, that's how we were able to do it. And we went out to partners initially. They promoted it. We did very well. And then it was like, wow, we're really close. We don't know what it's going to take to get on the best sellers list, but we didn't make it like this week, but we think we got enough if we can get some more promotion going. And we did. And we got our partners to really kick it into gear. And to the point where not only did we make it on the New York Times bestseller list, but it became a #1 New York Times bestseller. So
that's awesome. And then everyone feels like they got that win, didn't they? Everyone feels like they got.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It kind of, it helped legitimatize, this crazy little online business teaching thing that we've been doing here for a while. So,
awesome.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Well, thank you so much. Hang on the line for just one moment. I'm going to stop recording, but I just want to thank you so much for joining us, and just so much benefit for my tribe. And go along and check out Product Launch Formula, guys. And John, thank you so much.
And just so everyone knows, part of what we do when we do a launch, part of what we teach is that you share incredible, amazing content with your audience and your market, and you give value and you educate them and show them how something is possible for them, and you demonstrate that through your content. And that's what we're doing. We're doing a PLF workshop, a product launch workshop, over a series of content. And we like to say it's the second best product launch training in the market, because it really is. The best training is the actual product launch formula program, but the product launch formula workshop that you can go through for free will give you an incredible insight. It'll give you real tactics and real strategies and show you what's possible in doing your own product launch.
And I will be sure to pop a link so you can go forward and take advantage of that free training. It's epic. It's really cool workbook too. So John, thank you so much.
Right.
Really, really awesome, and can't wait to hear the results.
Great. Thanks, Tanya.